Hey, good morning, everyone. Hey, this is Kylan, and I just wanted to record a quick video for you guys because I'm not going to be able to be live today in our Friday mentorship. But the things that I wanted to chat about today became very, very apparent to me this week as I was working on some sales material, as I was meeting with some clients, and just had the opportunity to really reconnect on the value of the basics. And when you think about the basics in business, these are the foundational elements of success. They're what keep your organization strong. It's what keeps you strong in the sales space. It's what keeps you strong in the leadership space. So what I really wanted to touch on today is the foundational basics of leadership in sales. Your personal leadership in the sales process. And I know you may be rolling your eyes thinking, oh, we're going through this again, and all these things. I totally get it. It can sound so repetitious, but my friends, the foundation of your business is built on your ability to influence and lead people. And we don't want to forget this. If there's one core thing that you want to put into your personal development plan every single week, it's your ability to influence people. There's nothing more important than that. So let's dive in and talk about some of the core foundational elements of leadership in sales, your personal leadership ability. First of all, what is leadership? Let's think about this from the sales perspective. I wrote it down as this. I define it this way: the ability to influence someone to invest in a decision that's good for them. That is leadership in sales. Your ability to influence someone to invest in a decision that is good for them. That's really what you're getting at. You want to be able to influence, to impact through decision. And you want them to be able to make that decision. The second element is sales. The leadership in sales. I wrote down sales as a definition this way: to give something of value to someone in exchange for something of less value. Now, I want to be careful with that. I want to make sure that you fully grasp what I'm getting at. We want to give something of value to someone in exchange for something of less value. Now, why would I say it that way? Why would I put a definition in there to say of less value? Well, here's the reason why. If you're selling something for $10 and it has a $10 value, you're really not improving someone's life at that point. So you want to be able to find a way to make a $10 product worth a $15 value or a $20 or $25 value. You want to find the way to increase value for the price that you're asking for your product or service. That's really what it boils down to. You want your product or service and the value of that product or service to be substantially higher than the money that you're asking for it. And if it's not, you're going to have a hard time selling it, and you're going to have a hard time keeping committed clients. So let's dive in and break those two elements down a little bit, because again, this is foundational to your success in business. So number one, your influence ability. Your influence ability. Your ability to influence someone is critical. So how do you measure that? How do you measure your influence ability? I put it down this way. Look at the impact. What is the impact that you are making in someone's life? What is the impact that you're making for your customers? What is the impact that you're making for your community? Look around and measure your impact. because that's going to be a direct relationship to your influence ability. So if you're looking at your impact and the impact that you're making, and you're like, wow, I'm not making that much impact, then I'm sorry. The reality is you don't have a lot of influence. So the first thing you should be thinking about is, how do I increase influence? The more you have the ability to increase your influence, the more you're going to have the ability to increase your impact. And we all want to make impact. So measure your impact to determine your influence ability at this current time. Now, I wrote down 8 different ways in the sales process that we have to be able to influence. And in each one of these areas, you can measure your impact. You can measure your influence ability. Number 1 is in lead capture. You should always, always, always be capturing new leads. It doesn't matter how you do this. You can be doing this online, you can be doing this face-to-face, you can be doing this by capturing business cards and adding them to your email list, but your whole objective should be to always, always, always capture new leads. Find new people, get them into your email list, and start nurturing them. So what is your ability, number 1, to capture new leads? If you're not capturing leads, increase your influence in that area first. That is first and foremost. Number 2, the cold call. The cold call. This isn't necessarily picking up the phone call or the phone, but obviously that's not bad. It's the email. How about the cold email? How about a direct mail? How about a phone call? How about a voice message? How about a text message? In some way with a brand new lead, you want to make a connection. So what kind of impact is your cold connection making? Measure that. See how well you're doing, because then you want to make changes to that. Change your influence in your cold impact. The first meeting. So now you've got a new lead, you've made an influence with them, and you've impacted them, and you have a first meeting. What is your first meeting's experience? How are you influencing them in the first meeting? What kind of impact did your first meeting have with them? So what was your ability to help them in the first meeting? What was your impact in the first meeting? How about the presentation? During the presentation of your product, your service, how did you impact them? Or did you? Are you measuring your impact? Are you evaluating it? Because if you're not, you really don't know what kind of influence you have on that person. So you want to be thinking about the presentation. The presentation should lead to a proposal. In the proposal phase, how are you impacting them? How are you bringing them value? How are they seeing the value? Are you influencing in the proposal process? You see, my friends, at some part of this process, you're going to struggle. And that's okay. We all do. We're all human. And none of us master every element of this. So you want to be able to identify where your influence is best and where your influence is weak, so you can work on those weak areas of influence. How about in the delivery? How about in the follow-up? How about in the referral process? Any part of these areas of your life where you have a lack of impact, it begins because there's a lack of influence. Influence is your ability to lead someone, your ability to lead them to a decision that's good for them. So my friends, be sure and measure. Be sure and measure your impact, because it's a tremendous way to identify just how influential you truly are. Okay, now the second part of influence is the ability to help someone make a decision. So I wanted to touch on decision. When you think about decision, that's actually not what you want them to do. You don't want them to decide to work with you. See, there's an old story, and it's a funny little old story. It doesn't mean a whole lot, but it has an amazing moral to the story. And it's a story of 5 frogs sitting on a log, right? 4 of those frogs decide to jump off. So 4 of them decide to jump off. How many are left on the log? The answer is 5. See, just making a decision to jump off doesn't mean that you actually did it. The decision is a precursor to action. The decision is a precursor to action. What you really want your customers to do is take action. You have to help lead them to the decision first, and then move them to the action that follows decision. Decision alone isn't enough. You need decision followed by action. So here's how I wrote it down. Influence customers to desire something enough that they are willing to take action. You want them willing. You want them desiring something that will cause them to take action. You also want to influence the customers in the action process. That remind them they're going to learn. They're going to be better. And they're going to grow. That creates the desire. That creates the desire for action. They're going to learn, they're going to be better, and they're going to grow. It doesn't matter if you're selling flowers, if you're selling vehicles, if you're selling precision ag or input products. I don't care what you're selling. You want to be thinking about this. You're going to improve their life. They're going to be better. They're going to be better. And they're going to grow in some way. If you can help them do that, you're moving them to a decision that's good for them. Okay? It's a decision to take action. So let's move now to the selling element. Let's move to the selling element. The value in selling. Remember, the definition for sales was to give something of value to someone in exchange for something of less value. So, we have to think about value. First of all, give. To give something to someone. There's a book out there called The Go-Giver. If you haven't read The Go-Giver, I'd challenge you to read that book. It's absolutely amazing. But here's the concept. The best go-getters are first and foremost go-givers. The best go-getters are first and foremost go-givers. We want to learn to master the art of giving. It's a heart set. It's a mindset. You want to learn how to give more than you'll ever get. That starts with you being willing to learn it. Willing to learn what it takes to be a master giver. The second part of this is value. What is it that the customers value? See, that's a lot different than what you value. When you look at your product and service, you're going to go out there and you're going to talk about all of its features and all of its benefits because you're going to see that value through your eyes and your own product. But you have to learn how to ask the questions to get the customers to reveal to you what they value. It's not what you value, it's what they value. What's important to them? What is important to them? Why is it important to them? You need to learn those two things. What is important to them and why is it important to them? You have to know those things if you're going to master the art of selling. if you're going to master your business. If you don't have that, you're going to make assumptions. You absolutely will make assumptions that you know what they value. But if you've never learned it from them, your assumptions can be wrong. And that's a huge problem, which we'll find out here at the end. See, I wrote it down this way. This was a note that I learned here. We want to learn to give to a purpose or a cause. Give to a purpose or a cause. This is what they value. This is the cause, the purpose is what they value. So learn to give to a purpose or a cause, just like you would be giving to a nonprofit or to your favorite charity. Be willing to give up what you think is important to connect with what they believe is important. See, even if what they believe is important is not the best thing for them, that's where they are now. That's where they are in the present. You have to know how to lead them to something more important. You have to know how to connect and lead them forward. When you know what and why they value something, that now becomes your product's purpose. Listen to that. When you know what and why they value something, that will become your product's purpose. Just imagine if someone's buying a car and they value good fuel mileage. Now all of a sudden, your purpose in working with them is fuel mileage. More than likely, it's economics in general. So you're going to want to ask the questions about why that's so valuable to them. What else are they looking for that aligns with that? And you learn what they value. And then everything that you give them, again, selling is giving something, what you give them aligns with that value. It's that simple. Selling is not hard. We make selling hard, but it's not. It's super simple when we learn how to give, because we've identified somebody's value and we're just fulfilling that purpose. Makes it super easy. And this is foundational to your business success. Now, here as we wrap up, I also want to share one more thing about value, and this is, again, fundamental to your success. Evaluate. If you don't know the value, then what are you going to evaluate? You have to understand value from their perspective to evaluate your effectiveness, to evaluate your influence, to evaluate your impact. You have to understand value from their perspective. Don't miss that. Don't miss that. It's extremely, extremely, extremely important. That's why evaluation is focused on value, the value element. If the value objectives are unknown or assumed, you, the leader, will evaluate the wrong values. You want to make sure that these are well known, well understood. You want to also evaluate one more thing: experience. You want to evaluate the experience, their experience and yours. See, there's times in the sales or the business space, if you're going to be really successful, you need to give a customer to your competition. But you won't know that unless you evaluate the experience. I've done this before. At the end of the day, if one of my customers consumes a lot of time, consumes a lot of energy, and we're just not able to deliver the value that they desire, you may find that the best thing to do is simply let your competition have that customer. In fact, go so far as to introduce them. Help your customer go to the competition, because it could be the best thing for you. Now, here's the interesting thing. The more you focus on learning value from the other person's perspective, the more you're able to learn how to connect your product and service to their values, the less problem you're going to have with that. You're going to get a reputation of delivering on people's values, meeting expectations and delivering on that. When you earn that reputation, people are going to start coming to you because they know you're valuable. You have made an influence in your community at that point. When people start coming to you because they hear about the value that you deliver, they will start coming to you, and that is community level impact, or influence and impact. That makes a big difference in your life, my friends. That's why it all revolves around your ability to influence and your ability to deliver value. These are foundational elements of success. I don't care what area of life we're talking, these are foundational elements for success. So if you want to be super successful in business, go increase your influence and connect values to your customers. All right, my friends, God bless. Make it an amazing, amazing day. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you here next week.